Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michaela. If you're new to my channel, I make lifestyle vlogs and sit down videos to bring you joy and peace. Today is one of those sit down videos. I'm very excited about this one. Today I am talking about my gap year planning decision and my decision to go participate in a discipleship training school. It's 5.5 months and I'm doing it with Youth with a Mission. Ever since I was like in middle school, I have wanted to take a gap year. Ever since I found out gap years were a thing, I was like, I'm gonna take a gap year. That is absolutely 100% what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a gap year. As I was thinking about what I wanted to do for my gap year, I thought a lot about what my brothers did, and I had several brothers who took gap years too. And my second oldest brother, my brother Andre, he did a YWAM DTS after his first semester of college. So he went to Kona, Hawaii for his training and then Africa for his outreach. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. That's really awesome. And so I was like, okay, let's check and see about what YWAM has to offer for me in different places. I didn't want to go to Hawaii. I've always had this like thing about wanting to go to different places than my brothers, and since two of my brothers went to Hawaii for their training, I was like, I'm not gonna go to Hawaii for my training. So I was looking into several different bases and I found one in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I was like, this one looks so awesome. And Colorado is absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful state, and I was like, that sounds awesome. So back in April of my senior year, so April 2019, I applied and I waited for them to get back to me. And I waited for a really long time. The summer rolled around and I still hadn't heard back from them. And a lot of things happened at the very beginning of the summer. I graduated from high school, obviously. And I broke up with my high school boyfriend. And so it was very much a transitional period for me of just the Lord speaking to me and telling me things that like I hadn't listened to him about. And so feeling the freedom of just being out of school and being single and knowing that I could literally just do anything, I actually ended up going to Vermont to work in the kitchen at a Christian camp up there called Bethany Birches. It's so amazing. I loved it up there. It is so God-spirited and so filled with so many amazing people, and the staff up there was absolutely amazing. Just phenomenal people. And as I was up there, I found two bases through ads on Instagram, one in Orlando, Florida, and one in Tyler, Texas, both being YWAM bases. And I started looking into them a little bit more, and they were just, I just kept seeing their ads. That's also when I started thinking about, should I start applying to different bases because Colorado Springs hasn't gotten back to me. So I started thinking a little bit more about the potential of applying to different bases. After I got back from Vermont, I had a week at home and I looked in a little bit more at these bases, still just kind of looking at like the videos they had on their YouTubes or like their Facebook or their Instagram and their websites a little bit. I didn't quite start looking at their websites until a little bit after. So that week I just was kind of like, I was getting back from Vermont, I was unpacking, and I was packing for my family vacation to the beach in a week. So after that week, I headed to the beach, and while I was there, I really just couldn't get the idea of going to Texas out of my head. My brother Jason attends a school in Texas called Christ for the Nations Institute, and I couldn't get the word CFNI out of my head, and I couldn't get the word Texas out of my head, and really just feeling this urge and this wonder of like, what is in Texas? Why do I keep thinking about Texas? Because Texas has nothing to do with anything in my life. Like, we don't come from Texas. Like, no one in my family lives in Texas. Like, the idea of thinking about Texas all the time was just really strange to me. So I got back home from the beach, and that Sunday that I got home on a Saturday, and so the next day was Sunday, and I went to church, and it was baptism Sunday at my church. And beautiful, beautiful baptism, and so many amazing stories of the Lord changing lives, and so many people coming to the Lord and committing their lives to Him, and it was so beautiful. And as I got to my car after the service was over, and I was pulling out of like my parking spot, I really just got hit by the Holy Spirit. And I just began to weep and cry, and just, I really felt like the Lord was just literally just said to me, He was like, go to Texas. Like those 3 words, like He literally was just like, go to Texas. And so I took those, and I was like, whoa, 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 okay. And I was like, okay, Jesus, like I will, like I'll go. And so I was extremely overwhelmed. And I'm honestly like, I sent out a letter to family and friends, and I'm just gonna read this snippet from it. Amongst my weeping, I heard a voice strong and clear declare to me, go to Texas. Overwhelmed by what I had heard, I responded saying, Lord, I will. The next 2 weeks, I had messaged back and forth with the Tyler, Texas base and had a phone call. So I'll go into a little bit more detail on that. So after that, I went home, and I was like, okay, so poor Orlando, Florida is out the window. Like, I'm not going there. And so I went to the Tyler, Texas base's website, and I started asking questions, because they have a little messaging thing in like the corner of their site where you can ask questions to someone, one of the staff members. So I started asking questions like, how much is it? Like, where do you go? Like, what are the general like things that you do for outreach? Like, what does a DTS like at their base hold? And so I just asked them a lot of questions, and then they were like, would you like to have a phone call? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I would love to have a phone call. So I set up a phone call with them. I was already filling out the application, and I had the application already done by the time I had my phone call. And so, but I hadn't set it in. So I had the phone call and got a lot of my questions answered, and then I read through my application again after the phone call was over, tweaked a few things, and then I sent it in. And I just like, remember, I just prayed afterwards. I literally just said to the Lord, I was like, Lord, if I heard you correctly and I'm supposed to go here, they will say yes. And if I didn't hear you correctly, Lord, they will say no. And so I prayed very boldly for the Lord to control the answer that they gave. I was like, Lord, if they say yes, I heard you correctly, and I'm supposed to be in Tyler, Texas for my DTS. And Lord, if they say no, I heard you incorrectly, and I'm supposed to go somewhere else. So I continued to be very prayerful for the next few days. And 2 days later, after doing some phone tag with Tyler, Texas, they tried to call me. I sent it in on a Tuesday, and they called me Wednesday and were like, can we talk? And it wasn't a good time, so I said no. And we scheduled for a time later in the day. And then they ended up not being able to call then. And so they scheduled another call for later. And I just kept praying and just saying, like, Lord, you know, like, it'll happen. Like, if it's your will, it'll happen. And around like 3 o'clock on the Thursday after I'd submitted my application, I got a call from YWAM Tyler. And I answered, and they were like, is this McKilmer? And I said, yes. And they said, we are happy to tell you that you have been accepted to the Classic DTS for January 2020. And I was ecstatic. I just remember smiling so big and just being like, thank you so much. Like, that's so amazing. And then after the phone call, I just like fell on my knees and I wept again and was just like, Lord, thank you. Like, it was such a moment for me because I had never had the Lord speak so clearly to me before in my life, and I'd never listened so intently to the Lord in my life. And I just remember falling on my knees and just weeping in the hallway of my house and just being like, wow, Lord, thank you. Like, thank you for like just thank you. It was just an amazing, amazing thing, and I just couldn't believe just how intentional it all was. After that, I began being like, okay, so I got accepted. I received an email from them a few days later saying, with my acceptance letter and like their acceptance package with all the stuff you need to know about like what to pack, what not to pack, like, you know, their whole housing situation, like tuition, stuff like that, like how much things will cost, like their policies on certain things, and yada yada yada, just all that stuff. And so I was ecstatic, and I was like, okay, wow, Lord, like this is so very much like your hand is on this. It's amazing. So I have some questions that I wrote down for any like loose ends that I forget to talk about. Did I ever hear back from Colorado Springs? Yes, I did. Actually, I went out for coffee one day with my one friend, and he asked me, he said, do you think that the only reason you were called to Texas was because Colorado Springs never responded? And I remember right away just being like, no, like just right off the bat saying like, no, like I know what the Lord has told me, and I told him the story about everything. I was very solid in my belief and very solid in knowing exactly what the Lord had called me to. Fast forward about 30 hours, it was Tuesday night. I looked at my email, and I had actually had an acceptance email from Colorado Springs saying that I had been accepted to their DTS. And I remember just being like, wow, like just being like, okay, like God, I see you in that too. Like I had no doubt to begin with, even if Colorado Springs never said yes to me, but they did. And it was just so crazy how that email came like less than 48 hours after I'd had that conversation with my friend. Then after that conversation with my friend, where I had full-heartedly and 100% like said exactly what I believed to be true of like the Lord calling me there, and like even though Colorado Springs didn't accept me, like I still knew that I was called to go to Texas, and like less than 48 hours later I got an acceptance email from Colorado Springs. And I responded right then and there to Colorado Springs, letting them know that I wasn't going to be attending their DTS, that I had been accepted somewhere else and I was going to be attending a different DTS. So that's also part of that big huge story of just the Lord continuing to bring like complete, like there is no doubt in my mind about my calling to go to Texas. I am extremely thankful for how clear the Lord has been with me through this whole entire time. So what have I been doing to prepare? Well, currently, well, YWAM Tyler likes to send their people who their students little like secret emails like that only like people who are going to be attending get. So they send us little emails ever so often about things like how to fundraise and all that kind of stuff. So I actually did a t-shirt fundraiser. So I did a t-shirt fundraiser, and this was the t-shirt I designed. I used bonfire.com to do it, but it says "Be at Peace," and it has a dove with an olive branch in its mouth. And then on the back, it has the first part of the verse, Psalm 46:10, that says, "Be still and know that I am God." That is my current like life verse right now, and has been that verse came to me shortly after I got accepted to Tyler, Texas, and it was just like a major thing of just the Lord being like, Michaela, be still, like just be still and know that I'm God. Be still and know that I have everything covered. And so I put that verse on my t-shirts because I really felt like it was very connected to the whole entire process of everything, of hearing from the Lord, obeying the Lord, and all of this stuff. So I did that. I did a campaign. I had a lot of people purchase those shirts to help fundraise for me, and I am so thankful. I've had a lot of relatives support me and donate money, and I am so thankful for the extreme support that I have felt and love that I have felt from my friends and family, and people like I feel like I'm not even that close to. Like I'm so thankful for the amount of love and support that I felt from so many people. So how is the packing going? And I'm only saying this part because I started packing like about 2 days ago. I got my suitcases for it. I wanted suitcases that had locks on them, so I got a suitcase and then a carry and then a matching carry-on, and so I've been packing and figuring out what things to bring and what not to bring. And today I finally pretty much narrowed down all of the clothes that I'm going to bring, all the things that I know I'm gonna need, like things that they suggest you bring, stuff like that. And I'm starting to get like my carry-on all situated, and I haven't started doing my backpack yet, but I'm getting there. It has been a crazy couple like months. I remember at the very beginning of this, like getting accepted, thinking like, oh my word, there's so much time. Like, what am I gonna do while I wait? Like, there's so much time. Like, how am I even gonna possibly wait for all of this to like be happening? Like, Texas seems so far away right now. And now it is Saturday, December 14th, and I leave January 4th. I think it's 20 days left? I have 21 days. If you include, I have 21 days now until I leave. And it's really crazy thinking about that, because I remember being in August and getting accepted and thinking, oh my word, wow, I still have 3 months. I don't have 3 months. Like, well, in August, when it was September, October, November, December, like I had 4 months. Like it was legitimately like far away. And now like it's 21 days. So I filmed this video like a few weeks ago, but so I say it's 21 days away in this video, but currently it is December 26th, so I actually only have 8 days left until I leave. So actually I have 8 days left until I leave. It went from being 4 months away to being 21 days away. It's crazy. I am so excited and so thankful, and I can't wait. I can't wait. So that was my YWAM story, and how I found my base, how I got accepted to my base, and how the Lord was through all of it. I want to thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, like, feel free to comment some or message me on Instagram. My Instagram is Mickey Martin. It's MIKKYMARTIN. Just Mickey Martin. I also have a blog where I talk about a lot of different topics. I've talked about singleness, what it's like to be purposefully single. Like, I talk about fear, I talk about confidence, I've talked about sexual sin on my blog, all that great grand wonderful stuff. So if you would like to look at those blogs, I'll have my blog linked in my bio. My Instagram will also be linked in my bio. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much. Remember, be still and know that He is God. He is with you. He is talking to you. He is speaking to you. Sometimes you need only be still to listen. I love you all so much. Bye.